Man, I feel like God's moving so much right now in this season, and it's beautiful. And it's like, it, I just think back on the old seasons and seasons I've been through. It's so easy to feel like God just completely abandoned you, and like He ain't fighting for you. And He's like, man, am I doing anything right at all? And it's just like everything going wrong. It's like, man, like what? Like just completely like in the matrix, in the reality. But it's like, but it feel good right now. I feel like, man, God's moving. Like things are starting to, and it's hard though too, because it kind of catches you off guard when you get really used to the dry season. You're like, oh, now things are flowing. It's like, you say yes, like right, like walk through the doors God is telling you to walk through, and that could be difficult, man. But it's like it's beautiful, and all honor and glory and praise to God, because I feel like things is actually starting to happen and move, and it's good. So. But also, like I was saying, it's never like the way you think it's going to be, right? It's never like, oh, this is the way I envision this, way I see it, right? It's always a little different, but it's like, you can feel what it's like without God when it's dry and it's just a desert. And then you can feel when God is moving. And it's like, bro, just get on the train with God. like I don't want to be in the desert, and I don't want to miss the, the movement, the flow when it is flowing, just because it doesn't look how I wanted it to necessarily, right? So it's like, to go through both the seasons, to know what it's like when God isn't talking to you and you don't feel a response. And it could be painful and it feels like God's mad at you, but it's like really when God does speak to you, you definitely have the reassurance, like, yes, God is moving. This is the season, like prophecy is jumping, like there's synchronicities and alignments, and it's beautiful. God. Man, I just want so much for people to see God's goodness and to come to God and know that God is really good. But I was trying to say, like, there's been so many times in the desert, in the dry seasons, where I don't feel God's spirit as much in me, not really upon me as much, but I'll still try to like speak out. And I feel like it could be really misleading to people to see God's goodness when it's not really on you, and like you're speaking from the flesh or from dryness. So, but I just read like Isaiah 40 is making a way through the wilderness. And also there's been a lot about water, the way that water flows, like down like a dry, like imagine a dry land where water hasn't been down before. The path hasn't been carved out before, but it's making a way, and the water's like going through new terrain, and it's the front end of the river just moving. And it's like, the way we think too, like water not going down the path that it's already been down, like our brainwaves or whatever, the way our patterns, our habits, our thoughts, the belief systems and everything, but making a new way. And I feel like, especially with like the spirit of prophecy or whatever, it's like always like at the edge, the forefront, like uncharted waters, like the unknown and not knowing. And it's like really God calling us up into a new way of thinking, the new way of doing things, a new way of doing church, and just like to the fresh, the spirits. God's trying to do a new thing, right? Like in this season, it's like new connections, new people, talking to people that you normally wouldn't even talk to, and then just different, allowing God to work. And it can be uncomfortable, especially like souls like me. Like I just want to isolate, like people, like I feel like really in this season, God's really been asking me to just say yes, take action, say yes, and walk through the open doors, right, that are being opened, even though they don't seem right. And it's like, man, it can be overwhelming because it feels like the whole universe, the whole atmosphere, like just waters and waters of information and just God's consciousness trying to flow through, like through one little star, and like just speak out. And it feels like there's so much, and it's like, what do I do with it? Like right now, like I got to do something with it all the time, and it's like, well, just be grounded and trust and walk with God. That's the walking with God, right? Like I'm so quick to want to run out and just like, all right, I see a little vision and just try to make it all happen at once. But it's such a long process. I heard today, like I was praying and I felt like God said, God is a God of our lifetime, right? Not just of like some place far away in eternity or like yesterday or all that. It's just right now in the moment, throughout the entire life, just our life being weaved together beautifully, right?